Good afternoon, anyone that may be out there watching our council meeting this afternoon. Welcome to you. Hindmarsh Shire Council acknowledges that this meeting is being held on the lands of the Wakabali, Jardwa, Wirragai and Yuckaval nations, and we acknowledge them as traditional owners of country. We recognise the important ongoing role that Indigenous people have in our community and pay our respects to the elders past and present. And I'll hand over to Councillor Hoy to read out the sorry, I missed one here. This meeting is being broadcast on the internet, and recording of the meetings will be published on Council's YouTube channel and linked to Council's website. As a visitor of the public gallery, you may be filmed. By remaining in the public gallery, you consent to being filmed and for the recording of you to be made publicly available by Council. A copy of Council's live streaming and recording of council meetings policy is available at the back of this room and on council's website. Please speak with one of our staff members if you have any questions. And now I'll hand over to Councillor Hoy to read out their statement of values. Thank you, Councillor Hoy.
Thank you. Our commitment is to come prepared to every meeting, fostering a respectful and inclusive environment where accountability and approachability are at the core of our actions. We value and encourage innovation, collaboration, and open communication, always keeping in mind the well-being and needs of our community. Together, we stand united as one, working towards shared goals with mutual respect and consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Declaration of interest. Is there anyone around the room got any conflict of interest, either general or material, in any item on the agenda? No? Okay. Item 4, confirmation of minutes in business arising. And we have a recommendation.
Move the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to move the motion that the minutes of the ordinary council meeting held on Wednesday, 6th of May, 2026 at the Nil Council Chamber, 92 Nelson Street, Nil, as circulated to councillors, be taken as read and confirmed. Thank you.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Barry. Is anyone who wanted to speak against the motion? If not, you don't need to speak to the motion, and you don't probably need to speak as a seconder. I'll put the motion all in favour. Against, the motion is carried. Thank you. Item 5, public question and submission time, and we have one public question.
Thank you, Mayor. We have one question today from Tony Snyder of Dimboola. Why have the parking lines in the Lloyd Street Dimboola CBD been allowed to degrade over the last 3 years to the point of almost invisibility? And when will these lines properly be repainted? I'll hand over to Council's Director of Infrastructure to respond.
Thank you, Monica. The response goes as follows. Thank you, Tony, for submitting your question. The line marking issue in Lloyd Street, Dimboola was identified during our proactive inspection early December 2025. Council's works team is currently concentrating on high-risk line markings, such as the intersections and level crossings. The line marking works for Lloyd Street parking bays has been scheduled to be completed either before the end of financial year or early in the new financial year, subject to weather conditions. Community members are encouraged to submit their customer action request to report the hazards or concerns through the council's website. This will ensure the timely response and appropriate action in line with our service standard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item 6, activity reports. There's a couple of things there I'd like to make mention of. Mayor's catch-up is something that I probably instigated. That used to happen years ago. And the mayors around the area with Northern Grampians and Yarra Ambiac and Bull Oak, and they used to meet years ago just to chat about what everyone's doing in their different little patches and what have you, which I've found good, and I think it's working quite well. And it's tied in with the same day we have the Southern Valley Alliance, Women's Southern Valley Alliance, with the CEOs and mayors, and that meeting was quite interesting, and we've sort of got this group together that I think is quite a good, strong advocacy group for things in our area, and I think that's going well. And Councillor Aiken and I attended a forum in St Arnaud at the invitation of Ann Webster, the federal member for Mallee. Quite an interesting meeting, and there was quite a few there that were very vocal about what's going on with the transmission lines and the solar, the wind and solar stuff, and also the mining. And one of the I think it was the mayor of Bullock said there's one of their ratepayers that has 10 kilometres of VNI West transmission lines on his property, and he's very angry. And this is, dividing their communities and stuff. I think we're very fortunate in Hindmarsh. We're on the edge of it, but who knows where we're going to be further down the track. So I thought it was very good to go and listen to what was going on. And they had Matt Canavan there, who spoke very well, and I think it was very well received. Danny O'Brien probably didn't quite have the same sort of response. There were some people there that weren't real happy with him, but anyway, it was an interesting forum to go to. And then we also went to a human-powered vehicle event at Tailem Bend at the new sporting complex, which is now owned by Shell. It was owned by the people that started up the OTR business, and I think I googled the other day, they've spent $35 million on that precinct and the area and everything, and I was absolutely impressed with how professional it was and very well done, and world-class stuff, and they had about at least 100, Councillor Aiken, entries there, the human-powered vehicles.
Absolutely, probably more, way more than that.
Yeah, and it was very well run, and the people are very keen to come and do something in Victoria, and we're in the running to host something if we can make it happen. So it was well worth the day going to, and they were very. Again, I went there previously, and I was treated very well, and the new CEO treated us very well, took us right through the complex and showed us upstairs and their timing and all the rest of the stuff. And we met with people that are from Hamilton that have got a team from their school, and it's all about school kids, and they have primary school kids there and secondary and everything else. So it's an event that brings youth together, which I think is a really great thing. So anyway, that's probably much as I've got to say. So I'll hand over to Councillor Barker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Ismay. In May, the Nil Town Committee has been a really proactive organisation to be involved with and to attend each month. We've got quite a number of different representatives from the organisations in our town from Nil that attend, and it's great to see the people being proactive there, run by our chairperson, Alison Darlenberg, keeping it to an hour on point. So that's been really great. It was great to meet with the consultant for the Nil master plan, or the master plan for all of the sporting facilities and the facilities we've got. So it'll be interesting to hear the outcome of that master plan, which I think will be coming up shortly, in a month or so. Also went to the Youth Council, ran a Winter Wonderland dance, and I think it was great to see the young people all together having a good time there. And went to the Nil Corinne Baptist Church building dedication ceremony and opening, and that was a magnificent day of people from not only our town but out of town and out of state. There was people from all over the place. There was a large gathering for that, when it was a really fabulous day. We'll talk about further as well, but it was great to be there. Very inclusive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Barker. Councillor Aiken.
Thank you, Councillor Ismay. Other than what Councillor Ismay said about St Arnaud that we both went to, and Tailem Bend, I won't go into that again. It was a great event anyway, the Tailem Bend human-powered vehicle event. So we've had another discussion about the weir at the Wimmera River at Japarat. That was back at Dimboola. We had a number of people turn up to that great discussion, so that's still on the go. Balls in the air at this stage, but we'll see what we can get out of getting a new weir built in the future. Another one is about our LED upgrade around our shire, so that's still coming together. That's about all that I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Barry.
Yeah, well, I've done a few things similar. One thing that did stand out also to me was I done a Dimboola master plan. That Simon, he's actually pretty good. There's a fair few helpers there and had a lot of good ideas. So hopefully everyone can work together and we can get something for us to look forward to in the future. Last Thursday night also, we at the Demi Footy Club, we had the VFF President Ryan Milgate there, and also ex-National Farmers President DJ. It was good. We had probably 25 odd farmers there. It was a good day to come and had a chat and all that sort of stuff. And also last time we had a briefing here, we went over to the Nil Bulbs Club. It's very impressive how clean they keep the joint, and it'd be awesome if we can get that fund for them, which is coming out shortly, we think.
Awesome.
Thank you. Mary's mate.
Thank you. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor Ismay. Yeah, look, I just had a few meetings, probably, and I do apologise to committee of the Urunga Homestead because I believe I missed the last meeting. But the meeting they had on the 5th of May, yeah, so look, fantastic what they're trying to run there and the amount of effort that they do that's just not recognised. They're looking for more volunteers, and it appears, as in further in this meeting, we may have 1 or 2 extras, which is absolutely fantastic news. Rail Freight Alliance had an online meeting there, and yeah, look, I suppose being involved in the railways back in 1988 or prior to what the railways are now, and that is, yeah, it's a bit heartbreaking, and I just can't see how that's going to improve too much. And the Japara Town Committee meeting I've been to was, yeah, just fantastic again, seeing those volunteers. And I also went to, on the 23rd, the Japara Bowling Club had an open day, social day. It's good to pop down there and see how the limited number of people there are certainly fighting to get that bigger, better, and certainly getting another bowling green. That's going to be a big challenge, but I think they're up to the fight, which is great to see. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. The Rail Freight Alliance, did that crossover thing in Sunshine get discussed?
No, not really. It didn't get touched on, Mayor. It was, I don't know. I just say that the state government's got this idea in their head, what they're going to do. It's part of the Sunshine Railway Station rebuild, that area there, and this crossover that's very important, really. I just can't see the state government going to change their minds about it, which is, yeah, certainly just putting passenger rail over freight, and I think freight's certainly more important. And I think the railways these days, they don't run a service, they run a profitable business, and that's, in my mind, what kills the railways is they've lost sight. They need to create a service. So, yeah, I'll hopefully know on the 14th of August there's another meeting of the Rail Freight Alliance, and I'll be finding out more then.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, last but not least, Councillor Lloyd.
Oh, thank you. I forgot to mention that I also met up with Richard Simon, the consultant for the master plan for Dimboola. So I look forward to seeing what he produces. So that's really exciting. I guess for mine, apart from what's tabled, the highlight for me was to experience the new Corinne Baptist Church and Community Centre. To me, that was really exciting to see how a new community that came here with nothing, can get together and buy a building and create a new space, not only just for them, but to share with the rest of the community. It was also good for me to experience a new building in Neil as well. It's an awesome space. So, you know, congratulations to the Korean community. So that was my highlight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lloyd. Mrs. Drell, CEO, would you like to report on each of your items?
Happy to table as read, but answer any questions if there are any questions.
Thank you.
Hello.
Councillor Barker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. May I do have a question for Ms. Ravel in regard to her very busy activity report. I noticed that you went to a lot of different tourism meetings and events, and so I was just wondering if you can report back to us about how those went and what you gained from attending those.
Yes, I have been busy in the tourism space in the last month. I attended the Grampians Wimmera Tourism Strategic Planning Day. So the first iteration of the strategic plan that was developed when the Visitor Economy Partnership was formed, which is when the Wimmera Tourism and Grampians Tourism combined to be Grampians Wimmera Tourism. That strategic plan is up for review. And so we had an initial planning day to commence a review of that plan and to start the next strategic plan. I also was fortunate to be invited to observe the Visit Victoria International Marketing Program. So that is for businesses that are looking to take the next step and expose themselves into the international market. So there's a lot of considerations that need to be taken into account before you're able to move into that space. And I was observing from the perspective of Hindmarsh holiday parks, moving towards getting international exposure. So we start to see some more international bookings. I also attended the Australian Tourism Exchange in Adelaide, where I had the opportunity to talk to a lot of buyers from the international market and really talk about the offerings that our holiday parks have. What we see is that the international market, they tend to travel midweek. So our holiday parks are quite busy on the weekend from local and Australian travellers. We have staff, we have the cabins now. So it's now taking that next step to be able to be an attractive proposition for the international market that will then infill those midweeks when we currently don't see a lot of bookings in the holiday parks, unless we have contractors in the community that need somewhere to stay. So it was fantastic to get exposure and start to really talk about what's on offer. But it was also talking about what's on offer in the region. So I was talking about the aviation heritage, the pinball museum, the rainbow silo, like a lot of other attractions, because we know that a lot of the international market are flying into Melbourne. They spend a couple of days in Melbourne and then they're going across to Adelaide and on to Kangaroo Island. So the Germans love the silo art. So if I was talking to the UK, the German market, I was really talking about position yourself in our region. We've got silo art, talking about the opportunity, one of a kind silo at Rainbow. And so the next steps internally are, as part of our 26-27 draft budget, we have becoming a partner park with Big Four, which will expose us to a broader audience for bookings, but then also considering booking.com or one of those platforms that is in the international market that will then expose us to those bookings. For the community, caravan parks in Hindmarsh are our only source of revenue that's significant outside of rates. So for 26-27, we're budgeting for about $1.5 million in income from those holiday parks. So continuing to boost the visitation and the stays in the holiday parks means that we're able to put any profit from the holiday parks back into the services that we're delivering out into our community.
Thank you. I have a second question, which probably comes from that as well, is, we potentially have the 2027 Wimmera Steampunk Festival, and I see that you met with the new committee from that, and I was just wondering how you're seeing that going and the amount of support that may require.
Yes. So we formed a bit of an internal events team now, and what we're doing with larger events, so we've had similar meetings with the Rainbow Enduro Committee, is having upfront meetings where we talk through the requirements for the event permits, for any road closure permits, for any Department of Transport, if it's state government road that needs to be closed, and also the new changes that have come into place from the state government's POPE requirements. So where there's temporary stages or there's significant people gathered, there's now requirements for a pope. So it's about bringing together our team. So our reg services, myself initially, and the local laws, tourism and economic development team. And then we've prepared a document now that clearly steps out what requirements there are, ideal timelines. So we know with the Department of Transport, it takes a number of months to have a road closure approved. So really having the conversations up front to set the event up for success.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
If I may, one question there. I see you went in on the 21st of May, you went to a community meeting in Rainbow in relation to submitting a federal government beef program. Maybe you might explain what that is actually about, this beef program.
It's not about cattle. No, so the federal government recently opened, I guess the easiest way to look at it is early years fund for an integrated early years centre. And we have been strongly advocating for a number of years. At CEO drop-in sessions, I have a number of mothers come and talk to me about how at the moment they can't return to work. And we're talking professional women, the school, there's a lawyer that's spoken to me, a midwife that's spoken to me, because there's no childcare in Rainbow, they've been unable to return to work. So we've been partnering with By 5, Emerge, the Rainbow P12 and Council to submit an application to the federal government. That grant was submitted on Friday, and I really do want to thank the Rainbow community. We had a fantastic attendance at that community meeting. There certainly was demonstrated need for an integrated early years centre on the school site, and a number of those in attendance contacted us and wanted to tell their story so that we could prepare an advocacy document that accompanied our application. Really spoke to how desperate this community is for an integrated early years centre.
Thank you.
Righto, item 7, correspondence and a recommendation. Councillor Clark.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, the council notes the attached correspondence.
Thank you. And a second. Councillor Aitken. No one wants to speak against the motion. Put the motion all in favour. Against the motion is carried. Thank you. Item 8, assembly of councillor records and a recommendation.
Yes, I'd like to move that the council notes the assembly of council for records as presented.
Thank you. And second to councillor Clark. No one wants to speak against the motion. I'll put the motion all in favour. Against, motion carried. Thank you. Item 10, reports requiring decision. Melbourne Cup Day, public holiday 2026. Council have received requests from Nil AMP Society and Rainbow AMP Society to change the 2026 Melbourne Cup public holiday to their respective show days, being Tuesday the 13th of October 2026 for Rainbow and Thursday the 15th of October 2026 for Nil. This report discusses the procedure for the declaration of substitute public holidays for Melbourne Cup 2026 and recommends writing to the Minister for Small Business expressing the preference to substitute the Melbourne Cup public holiday in Nil and Rainbow's localities. So, any discussion? Pretty straightforward. We do it every year. Councillor Clark?
Oh, yeah, look, thanks, Mayor. Yeah, look, I know council's done it every year, but having attended in previous times the Nil show and nearly every year the Rainbow show, I think it's the day reflects a local community event, whereas Melbourne Cup is a national event. This reflects a local community event. I think it just has so much more value to have our local show day off.
Yeah. And speaking from personal, I've said this before, speaking from personal experience, the Rainbow community gets double dipped because everyone goes out to the bowling club on Melbourne Cup Day and has a big day out, so they get 2 days off. I open my shop in the afternoon, I'll probably get 2 customers for the afternoon, so. Anyway.
May, we might talk about that after.
Righto.
Yeah.
Righto. All right, so there is a recommendation there. Councillor Clark.
Yeah, look, I moved the motion that council writes to the Minister of Small Business expressing a preference for the following. 1, substitute public holiday in lieu of Melbourne Cup Day for Rainbow Show, which is Tuesday, the 13th of October 2026. That's 13th of October 2026 for the localities of Rainbow, Albuquerque and Kenmare within the Hindmarsh Shire. And 2, a substitute public holiday in lieu of Melbourne Cup Day for the Nil Show, which is Thursday, the 15th of October. That's 15th of October 2026 for the localities of Broughton, Yannick, Netherby, Lachlan, Nil, Glenlee, Kayata, Jurang and Little Desert within Hindmarsh Shire. And 3, Melbourne Cup Day for the rest or the remainder of the Hindmarsh Shire.
Thank you. And a seconder.
Yeah.
Councillor Barry. Anyone want to speak against the motion? Not, would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Clark?
No, I think I've made
Councillor Barry.
Thank you.
Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it?
Righto. Put the motion all in favour. Against, motion carried. Thank you. Item 10.2, Climate Adaptation Strategy Update. Council adopted the Climate Adaptation Strategy 2024-2036 in August 2024 to strengthen community resilience and prepare for projected climate change impacts. This report provides an update on progress to May 2026. Since adoption, steady progress has been observed across the strategy's 5 key focus areas, which include supporting community preparedness for extreme weather, strengthening the climate resilience of infrastructure and natural assets, encouraging climate-smart practices in farming and business, and embedding adaptation into council's own operations. Key achievements to date include working with emergency service to boost bushfire and heatwave readiness in local communities, integrating climate adaptation measures into planning and asset management, ongoing pest and weed control to protect biodiversity, and promotion of sustainable practices such as exploring renewable energy opportunities. So, up for discussion, Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. It's May. This question I direct to our Director of Infrastructure Services, Ron there. I was just wondering if you could talk to us about what the Wimmera 72 website is about and how it can be utilised.
Thank you. So Wimmera 72 is the website and a guide which is prepared by Wimmera Emergency Management Team. They maintain it as well. It's a step-by-step guide for the emergency preparedness. So 3-step: know your risk, have your plan, and get your emergency kits. So in case of emergency, the emergency services people might not be able to get to you immediately. In that situation, you should be prepared to take care of yourself for at least 72 hours. You get in touch with the, with the emergency services workers. So the website provides step-by-step guide on how to be ready. We also have some brochures, which is available at the customer service, and I believe there is some in the current language as well.
Beautiful. Second, another question. I noticed that we are also making sure that we have key waterways available in the Shire. And I was wondering if you would be including the Jeparit Weir, and I was wondering if you could talk to, or if our CEO would prefer to talk to any updates on what we may be looking at for the maintenance of Jeparit Weir or the replacement of the Jeparit Weir, being in the case that it is actually an important part of key waterways in times of drought.
I'm happy to answer that question. So we're still advocating strongly for the replacement of the Jeparit Weir. We met last month with a group of community members from Jeparit in Dimboola to just talk through how the community might be able to also boost their advocacy around the need for the replacement of the Jeparit Weir. This morning, Council's Director of Infrastructure and myself have met with Emergency Management Victoria, as the federal government has just opened funding that we could potentially apply for the replacement of the Japarut Weir. We just have one big hurdle with that funding, is that they expect a 50% contribution from council. So when we consider that the Japarut Weir replacement is about $6 million, council's contribution there would need to be $3 million. So we are working closely with Emergency Management Victoria to really push the importance of the need for replacing the Japarut Weir, and we have committed, and they have committed to continuing those discussions and working with us to try and build a strong case for the replacement.
Thank you. It's good to hear there's ongoing advocacy there. I also have, my next question is in regard to our land care and how that is working in with this this program as well. Yeah.
So our current land care program has been extended by another 2 years to 31st of March 2028. Our land care facilitator has been engaged for 3 days a week, 2.6 FTE. The officer liaises with various land care groups in the municipality and assists them with various land care activities and provides them support. The officer also assists us with the delivery of weeds and pest program and provides the guidance on the native vegetation in their protection, as well as provides the advice on the weeds and pests to prevent their spread on the roadside.
So is that person able to be contacted by our local farmers, etc., if they have concerns about native vegetation near, in or around their properties?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if they contact the customer service and ask for the land care facilitator, or they can send an email to info@Hindmarsh, and then it will get to the land care facilitator.
Thank you. I have another question for you, Ram, and I've noticed that this plan also includes the EV charging centres that we have, and there's a number of them that have come up in Nil and in other towns. I was wondering if you could talk to that, about the progress of that and future plans.
Yeah. So in terms of EV facilities, we've got 4 facilities that council maintains and runs in Nil, Japarut, Dimula and Rainbow. People can charge their electric vehicles for free in those locations. Recently, there has been installation by a private company, the Tesla chargers in IGA in Nil, which seems to, it's observed that there's lots of visitors attracted to that charging facility, which is definitely supporting the positive outcomes for climate change as well as the local economy.
Yeah.
Just through you, Mr. Mayor, I think it's worth noting that councils for charging stations are slow chargers. So the aim was to encourage people to stop and explore our towns, and they could charge for free. The privately owned charging stations, they're fast chargers, and they do come at a cost.
All right, interesting. Thank you. But I guess most people who have EV cars would be aware of that.
Yes.
Thank you. I have another question for you, Ram, in regard to the FOGO processing facility that we have had briefings on. I was just wondering how that's going. It's going to be located at Dimbola Transfer Station, and just if there's any updates on that.
Yeah. So we have taken the report to council, and council resolved to start the FOGO collection service at or before 1 July 2027, which is the mandate made by state government. To prevent the requirement to travel hundreds of miles to go to the nearest processing facility. We have been in discussion with 4 other councils, Hindmarsh, Yarra Yambiak, West Wimmera and Bullock, to jointly start a processing facility in Dimbola Transfer Station. So we've had initial discussion with all of the councils. They have provided in principle support. We're working on the agreement to be signed by all of the councils. We've also had consultants visit the Dimbulla transfer station to give us the specification for tendering out, which will follow after we have the agreement signed by whole five councils. So the work is progressing. We've also made an order for purchase of bins for the FOGO rollout as well.
Thank you. And can you just reflect just quickly on the positive outcomes of FOGO for us as a community, like the output from the FOGO processing plant and how that can be utilised?
I think one of the biggest positive outcome is that we will save a lot in our transport cost. We'll have the local processing facility, as well as the compost will be available to the local farming community who might be able to use those compost and replace the need to buy some expensive fertilizers from the market.
Yeah, because of the high quality of the compost, without having any weeds coming through from it. Thank you. That's all my questions for you.
Okay, are there any further, Councillor Barry?
Sorry, just one quick question. As a part of the climate, I'm assuming the renewables is all on our plate, is it? You know, the wind and solar?
Yeah.
Do we get a say in any of this? Where it goes and anything, does us as a Shire get any say, or do we just get told? I'm asking for the public.
So the companies will identify their ideal location for the turbines, and then they will communicate with the property owners and go through a process of trying to sign up the property owners. Council doesn't have any approval process, so it's all approved by state government.
It's sad, isn't it?
We do try and have a say. And for anyone that's been following along with the Warracknabeal Energy Park, there was significant consultation, and Yarriambiack Shire Council went through significant consultation in relation to the EES that's just been approved, to try and make sure that the needs and the concerns in the community are heard and factored in relation to the development of the wind farm that's coming across that way. But we aren't an approval authority, so we don't have a lot of say.
Sad, isn't it? Anyway, move on, sorry.
Okay, well, having said that, there is a recommendation there. Councillor Barker.
Thank you. I would like to move that council receives and notes the progress update on the Hindmarsh Shire Climate Adaptation Strategy for 2024 to 2036.
Thank you. And a second, Councillor Barry. Anyone like to speak against the motion? If not, would you like to speak to the motion, Councillor Barry?
Just quickly, I think this is a well put together report that covered a lot of aspects of climate adaptation, and it gives some reassurance that we're prepared for the changes that are happening in our environments, and even things that may be happening around the world that then impact on our environments as well. So, yes, thank you.
Okay, Councillor Barry.
No, it's just moving with the times. We want clean air, don't we?
Right. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All in favour? Jason's motion carried. Thank you. 10.3 Community Asset Committee members. Member appointments. This report recommends appointment of members to Whitman Valley Pioneer Museum Community Asset Committee and Urunga Homestead Community Asset Committee for the term of the 1st of July 2026 to the 30th of June 2028. Each Community Asset Committee must have a minimum of 4 members and a maximum of 12 members. This report recommends appointment of 9 members to Whitman Valley Pioneer Museum Community Asset Committee and 5 members to the Urunga Homestead Community Asset Committee. I'll open it up for discussion. No questions? Councillor Clark.
No, sorry, my mistake. Thanks, Ben.
Councillor Barker.
I think it's been perhaps over the question to our Director of Community Services, in regard to what interaction we had with these areas, Japarrit and Rainbow, to achieve such a great result on the number of people that have put their hands up to be involved.
Happy to answer that through you, Mr. Mayor. The Wimmera Pioneer Museum in Japarrit has a really strong volunteer base. There's a lot of people that work on the committee or as volunteers running the museum, like letting people in, showing them around, that really care about everything that's in there, that the displays. And so this reflects that there's this core group of people that are really passionate about the museum, but there's a few extra people there as well. So we have councillors and council staff attend those meetings to help support the committee achieve what they want to achieve.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, no further questions. We have a recommendation. Councillor Clark.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Look, I move the council appoint the following nominees to the Wimmera Pioneer Museum Community Asset Committee. They being Craig Proctor, Don Petter, Krista Robney, Natalia Aguirre, Ty Mannington, Marianne Pake, Clem Pake, Peter Pumper and Morgan Nines. My apology if I spelt that or said that wrong. And with the Urunga Homestead Community Asset Committee being Colin Drendel, Mike Smythe, Mark Thomas, Jennifer Solly and Peter Solly.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Is there a seconder? Councillor Aiken, thank you. No one wants to speak against the motion. Would like to speak to the motion, Councillor Clark?
If I may just quickly, I'm the council representative for Urunga and I have attended a few of the Pioneer Museum meetings of recent times. Fantastic to see people putting their hands up here. I'm so glad that we have an extra number now here for the Urunga Homestead Committee, because I know the 4 previous members on the committee were very hard working and probably looking to get a little bit burnt out. So it's good to see an extra person coming on board there. And with the Pioneer Museum, certainly there's 1 or 2 new names there that's just absolutely fantastic.
Thank you. You don't need to speak. Okay. All right, put the motion. All in favour? Against, motion is carried. Thank you. Item 10.4, council plan actions. This report presents the draft council plan actions 2026-2027, recommended for endorsement for a period of community engagement in line with council's community engagement policy. The draft council plan actions 2026-2027 provide a focused and practical roadmap for delivering on the council plan 2025-2029 and municipal public health and wellbeing plan. Developed through a combination of strategic planning, community consultation and review of existing priorities. The actions are designed to drive tangible improvements in the quality of life for Hindmarsh Shire residents while ensuring council remains responsive, efficient and forward-looking. In addition to the specific actions outlined, 4 overarching priorities have been identified as guiding principles that underpin all areas of council's work. These are closing the loop with the community, using plain English, reducing jargon, making processes easier and more consistent, clearly demonstrating outcomes and value. These overarching actions respond directly to community feedback and represent a commitment to improving how council communicates, engages and delivers services. If endorsed, the actions will be made available for public feedback and comment from the 4th of June 2026 to the 2nd of July 2026. And I'll open it up for discussion. Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. May. I would like to direct a question to our Director of Corporate and Community Services, Ms. Crook, in regard to one of the council plan actions, which is the implementing of a customer request management system. And I'd like to know more details about how this will benefit our community.
Absolutely, happy to answer that. At the moment, we don't have a single system that we use to track requests from the community. So we have green light for planning, we have emails, we have forms on our website. What a CRM will do will be a single system that tracks requests as they move through the organisation. So it will start with customer service, or it will start with a customer or a phone call, and it will automatically direct the request to the right staff member. So what the community should see is that they're getting more consistent information, that they're getting more timely information. And I think really importantly, if they call customer service and ask for an update on their request, at that first point of call, customer service will be able to look it up. They'll be able to see what actions have been taken and communicate directly with that customer. So it'll mean those live updates can happen as opposed to things being time being taken to follow up. The other thing is it will enable us to run reports. So we'll be able to see what kind of requests we're getting across the organisation, what kind of complaints we're getting. And when we're doing things like service reviews or looking at things that are working well or working poorly, we'll kind of have data that we can use to drive those changes.
Lovely, thank you. I also have another question in regard to promoting Hindmarsh Shire as retirement friendly. I have seen lots of media reports and documentaries on the fact of how difficult it is for people who live in metro to retire, and a lot of people are looking to move to smaller towns such as ours in Hindmarsh Shire, and how that creates pressure on housing, and both from those people retiring out to the tree change in our areas, but also creates jobs for those people who will support those people who are retiring, so in hospitals and hospitality and so forth. So I was wondering what sort of things and I would really love the idea of nil or being like a great big retirement village, and how you're seeing that, how promoting that. Thank you. Happy
To answer that as well, and perhaps if the CEO or Director of Infrastructure Services want to jump in as well, they can, because it's a really it's a big project that covers a lot of service areas. When we talk about being retirement friendly, we're talking about the infrastructure that council looks after, our roads or our footpaths, are the things that make living in towns easy for older people at the standard that they should be, but also are people able to access the services, the shops, and all of the things that make retirement enjoyable in a country town. And we already have a lot of that. Our towns are beautiful places to live. We have beautiful parks. We have great health services. And so the purpose of this action is finding ways to promote that and get people inspired about moving to Hindmarsh Shire, but also look for the gaps and look for what are the things in our towns and the opportunities that make Hindmarsh an even more brilliant place for people to come and live in the later stages of their life.
And as workers.
And as workers, absolutely.
Bringing their families.
Yes.
Yes. I also have another question for, if I could, to our Mayor, Ron Ismay, in regard to one of the actions being to incorporate a human-powered vehicle track into the council's project pipeline and commence preparing shovel-ready plans for future grant funding. So I am aware that you recently went to see the HPV at Tailem Bend, and so I was just wondering if you can talk to that and how you see that happening in our region and the benefits.
This is something that isn't new. The HPV people actually did 2 trial runs, demonstration runs in Dimboola some years ago, and they were very keen to do something in our community and in Dimboola in particular, and that sort of seemed to go by the wayside a little. And the new CEO contacted me not too long ago and said they were still interested. So Councillor Aiken and I went to Tailem Bend to the new motor racing complex that they've built there, which is very, very impressive. $35 million worth of investment there in all sorts of motorsport and everything else. And these people, the human-powered vehicle people, had 100 plus, I guess you could say 100 plus schools that participated, because it's all done by schools, primary school and secondary college kids that either buy these machines or build them and And it's not a race as such, it's an endurance, so they're limited to 60 k's an hour, which is quite quick in one of those vehicles, but anyway, they were very keen to come to our area, so I thought we should go and re-engage with them, and I think the CEO indicated that we would like to come here and talk with us further about it, so I guess it's a bit of a watch this space thing, and I'm quite prepared to pursue it further. I think it would be great to bring young people to our community, and they bring their followers and their families with them, and it promotes our area and it brings income into our community. So and it's bringing young people into our communities, and hopefully they'll come back. So I think it's quite a great thing to be trying to achieve.
That's great to advocate for that. Thank
Yeah.
you. I also have another question, perhaps to yourself, Mayor Ismay, or to our CEO, Ms. Ravel. One of the actions is to continue to advocate for spur lines or loop lines at our key rail collection sites. So I was wondering if we could have some discussion or reflection on that and the benefits of that.
Sorry. The spur line is the rail siding that's here at Nil, which is very, very inefficient. And I've advocated for some time, and I was involved with the Rail Freight Alliance, and Councillor Park's now the representative for that. But I've been advocating for the rail line here to be the grain people came to our council probably nearly 10 years ago and suggested they were going to spend quite, I think that the figure at the time was $10 million on upgrading the whole thing here to be able to make it more efficient. It would get a lot of trucks off the road. It would redevelop that whole area and make it a lot more efficient. And I think that needs to continue to be advocated for. And maybe the CEO would like to comment also, maybe?
Yes, so I've had some meetings in relation to the Nil site and trying to create efficient. The aim is to get that onto the Rail Freight Alliance strategic document so that it becomes a priority project. It will require both some state and federal funding. I think they're saying about $13 million now, because the line will need to be about 1 kilometre long, and with the rise in the road and the land, there will be significant earthworks that will be required. But what we're seeing here in Nil at the moment is that the two GrainCorp sites are located on the eastern side of town, and the loading point is in town, right near our swimming pool and our, I guess, precinct where education is held. And so the trucks are having to load up at the site and then transport the grain down to the loading bay to get it onto the train.
So it would be good if we were able to change that up. Yeah.
It would create significant efficiencies.
And it's gone up $3 million already. So
Well, no, I think
Always
that's the
going
line. GrainCorp were going to spend 10 million on their infrastructure. Didn't include the rail line.
Okay, there you go.
Councillor Clark.
Mayor, I think I mentioned previously a bit of railway heritage. Essentially, I'm a railway kid. With this, I could say the current Nil yard for trains here, and there's one here today loading, is probably the most inefficient yard in Australia because of the archaic setup. And with rail, as I said before, rail is run by companies that look at profit for shareholders. And therefore, the flow is that trains got to be able to come in, load, and out quickly. Like you look at Dimboola grain flow, 2 hours, turn around, gone. And that's 4,000 tonne of grain, just gone like that. Here at Nil, we don't have anything like that. We've got trucks crossing roads, trucks being used, trucks running to Portland and all that. This loop line is basically aimed at putting a loading facility in that we can turn trains around in 2 hours. It's going to get trucks off roads, trucks out of our town, trucks crossing the highway no longer. So the total efficiencies is just bonus all the way around. But of course, it's a bit of a red tape nightmare to get through it all.
It's good that it's on the list though, isn't it? So thank you for that.
It is on the list of
Yes.
strategic priorities with Rail Freighter Line.
Excellent. I also have another question for our CEO, Ms. Ravel, in regard to a motion that was put up to the Municipal Association of Victoria. Their meeting on the weekend just gone by our council and Horsham Council in regard to housing development. So I was wondering if you could talk about that motion, please.
Yes, I'm happy to speak to that motion, Mayor. So as Councillor Barker said, the Municipal Association of Victoria State Council was held in Melbourne on Friday. The Mayor is the delegate and I attended alongside the Mayor. Council's motion was in relation to the MAV advocating to the government, so the Victorian government, around a rural housing innovation framework. So we know that small scale housing developments in our Shire will have a significant impact, and often because we are looking for something that's small scale, we're overlooked. So I guess in summary, give us the opportunity to have a pool of funding that's available just for rural councils where we can look at some innovation. We can look at some tiny homes, modular homes, short-term accommodation, also worker accommodation. We know that there's significant mining and renewable projects that are happening just on our border. And so that will also have an impact. So that motion was endorsed by all of those in attendance. And so the next steps now is MAV will add that to their advocacy document, and following the State Council, they then go and meet with relevant ministers and start to really push what has come through clearly from the MAV meeting.
Yeah, that would be really exciting to get that support from state government through the MAV. Yeah, and it was good to see, was it 97% of people endorsed that motion. So
I don't recall exactly what it was, but it was certainly significant, which was really exciting.
yeah, good to realise that rural is different to metro in the way that we can attract those developments. So thank you for that. My next question is for the Director of Corporate and Community Services, Ms. Croot, in regard to one of the actions is to commence a business landscape review. I was wondering if there had been any consideration of inviting or creating business advisory groups in our area that could channel information to us as what they see are the important business developments in our region.
Yeah. Happy to answer that. So at this stage, there isn't a business advisory group through council, but we have a lot of businesses that are really interested in what progression looks like in the Shire, what tourism looks like in the Shire, and what it could look like for businesses to work together. That includes on projects that are mutually beneficial, but also on what the communities need. The business landscape review will be looking at both existing businesses. So who do we have currently in the Shire, whether it's retail, hospitality, home business, agriculture, looking at where those businesses are currently at and who they're servicing, looking at what their needs are, but then also looking at what are opportunities or gaps for businesses that we don't have, and how could we work together to advocate for them. And that kind of information can only really come with the input from local businesses who are operating, who understand consumers, who understand tourism, and who understand what it's like to be a business in Hindmarsh Shire. So as this progresses, we need input from local businesses. So whether that's an advisory committee or something similar, we'd be hoping to formalise that.
Thank you. That sounds amazing. Thank you.
Okay, nothing further, Councillor Clark.
Mayor, just a question. Should this be endorsed? Part of it is public consultation. Is there sort of been or any engagement opportunities organised within the Shire to discuss this? what if the matter is endorsed through the Shire today?
To respond through you, Mayor.
Okay.
There are engagement opportunities. So through Have Your Say Hindmarsh, the plan will be available there for viewing, and there will be an opportunity for people to have their say on the actions. There also are CEO drop-in sessions planned, where the aim is that councillors will join those CEO drop-in sessions and be available. So Nil Library will be next Tuesday from 2 p.m. until 3 p.m. Dimboola Library and Customer Service Centre on Thursday, the 11th of June from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. The Japarut Library and Customer Service Centre on Monday, the 22nd of June from 10 a.m. until 11 a.m. and the Rainbow Customer Service Centre and Library from 12:30 p.m. until 1:30 p.m. on Monday, the 22nd of June, and happy to have a chat about items in the council plan and any operational items that community members may have.
Right.
I just have one.
Yes, councillor.
One for Ms. Crew, with the customer request management system, do you have any idea how much that would cost?
Yes, almost nothing. So the CRM system already exists within some software that we already use. And we have, through the Rural Council Transformation Project, which is a network with Horsham and Loddon, we have a staff member that we share that can work on implementing some of these modules. So that person is really excited about implementing this for Hindmarsh, and they've learned a lot from bringing it into the other councils. It'll require some staff time and potentially some training from the software provider, but it's not going to be significant.
Oh, cool. So the timeline is that it might happen sooner than later?
Hopefully, we're hoping for the within the year. The way it's rolled out is that it works team by team. So it'll start with customer service and work with all the requests that they tend to get. It'll then work through Ram's team and planning and bins and all of that sort of thing.
Good to hear. Thank you.
Okay, any further questions? If not, where is the recommendation? Councillor Barker.
Thank you. I would like to move that council endorses the draft council plan actions for 2026-2027 for a period of community engagement from the 4th of June 2026 to the 2nd of July 2026, with feedback to be considered at the council meeting on the 29th of July 2026.
Thank you. And a seconder, Councillor Clark. Anyone like to speak against the motion? If not, who'd like to speak to the motion?
Thank you. The Hindmarsh Shire Council Plan annual actions will be available on the website, and the things that we have discussed here are only a few of many. So I would really encourage everyone to get on there and have a look. There's a massive list of the things that we as councillors and also the deliberative panel and other community contributions that have happened in the consultation process. So, and this is also another opportunity for consultation as well. So we'd love to hear from anyone in our Shire who would like to comment and add ideas.
Thank you. Councillor Clark?
No, thank you, Mayor.
All right. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All in favour? Yes, the motion's carried. Thank you. Item 11, council committees, advisory committees. Don't know if I need to read too much of this out to them. Sorry. No. And a recommendation. Councillor Clark.
Thank you, Mayor Ismay. Look, I move the council notes the minutes of the following advisory committees, being the Nil Township meeting held on the 5th of May 2026, Japarut Township meeting held on the 11th of May 2026, and Hindmarsh Pride meeting held on 20th of May 2026, and notes the financial statements for the month of April 2026 for the following advisory committees, being the Japarut Township, the Nil Township, and the Rainbow Township.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Is there a seconder? Councillor Aitken. Anyone like to speak against the motion? Oh, would you like to speak to this motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Councillor Aitken. No, all right. Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All in favour? Against, motion's carried. Thank you. 11.2 community asset committees. They're pretty much the same thing. And a recommendation. Councillor Barry.
I'll move that the council notes the minutes of the following community asset committees. 1, Urunga Homestead meeting held on 26th of March 2026, and 2, Wimmera Mallee Pioneer Museum meeting held on 21st of April 2026.
Thank you. And a second. Councillor Hoyt. No one wants to speak against the motion? Don't need to speak to the motion. All in favour? Against, motion's carried. Thank you. Okay, item 12, late reports. Are on any notices of motion, other business?
Yeah.
Wasn't going your way.
Other business.
Yeah. Going from this side. Councillor.
Well, just sometimes you speed through, and so I thought you might go straight to confidential.
Well, I usually go around the table, so I had it in my head that I was going to start over this side.
Good job.
Righto. Councillor Baker.
No other business here.
Councillor Barker.
Thank you, Mayor Ismay. I would like to reflect just specifically on the Nil Corinne Baptist Church building dedication ceremony and opening. And there were a number of businesses and organisations that were given what they call prizes. And I think they were just significant offerings as appreciation for by the Corinne people to those organisations like the Uniting Church, Loverdark, and also to Hindmarsh Shire. There were others as well. But actually, it's our appreciation to them. And they gave out these lovely prizes, and we received one that says, "Thank you for your wonderful support for our Corinne community and for your dedication in running valuable programs such as the Homework Club and Mother Tongue Playgroup. Your commitment, care, and encouragement have made a meaningful difference in the lives of many families and children within our community." And I just think that it's just so thoughtful for them to say that, and because it makes so much of a difference to us of their presence in our community. And they might be saying their greatest appreciation, but I would also like to say our greatest appreciation as well for their contribution they make in our. And we look forward to Corinne people being a part of our council in the future, as I mean councillors, not just working at the council. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great tribute, I guess, and a great honour to be, you know, a recipient of something like that. They've gone to quite a bit of trouble to do. It's not, you know, it's not just a small token. It's quite a, you know, impressive award that they've given us, I suppose, for our help, and it's very nice to be appreciated.
Yeah.
That's great. They're wonderful people, and yeah, it's good.
And there was, I don't know, I wasn't counting, but I'd say at least 1,000 people there from all over the country, and that would have significantly contributed to our economy just that one day. But I think they were all here all weekend because everything was booked out. So yeah, and that's just that weekend. So we wish them all the best with their new church up there. Yeah.
Okay. Nothing further?
No.
All right. Councillor Baker, no. Councillor Clark.
No, thank you, Mick.
Right. I don't know that I've got anything that I need to mention, so no confidential report, no late confidential reports. Item 17, meeting closed. And before we close, thank you for all those watching. I'm not sure about the broadcasters anymore. Free to air because Netflix have commissioned us to go across to pay TV, so I'm only